watching 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking about the troubled state of the U.S. economy, the budget crisis, and the impacts that state workers' pensions have on state and city budgets. We've talked a lot about the ongoing struggle to cut government spending and the impact that will have on us here in Western Massachusetts. We've been talking to Assistant Economics Professor Mark Howard from Springfield College and Assistant Professor of Economics Karl Petrick from Western New England College. So just a quick wrap up here. Where do you think our economy is headed at this point, I guess, as we head into the summer?
It's a very bumpy ride because of what's going on in the Middle East and North Africa in terms of oil prices and food prices and how that's affecting us here. In terms of what's going on in Congress, there is no debt crisis at the federal level. It's being manufactured as a debt crisis, and the cuts that are being proposed from both sides could be disastrous in the short term. The longer term problems that need to be addressed can be addressed, and there are some sensible policies out there, again, from the White House and actually from Congress as well. But in the short term, cutting off spending for actually reasons that Professor Howard talked about would be disastrous right now in a very fragile recovery.
What do you think needs to, yeah?
Well, I would first agree with that 100%. We actually have seen this scenario once before. Unfortunately, it was 1932 when it became politically very popular to talk about austerity programs. And what that did, when the government and Herbert Hoover cut back spending significantly, it drove us into a further depression. And there's really no doubt in my mind that if the Republicans in Congress get their way and cut $100 billion, and if at the state level there are big cuts, that will significantly increase unemployment and cause a double-dip recession. So I would say that it is a choppy ride right now. We did have some good news this morning. The private sector created 220,000 new jobs in the country. So there is some good news out there. A very fragile recovery taking place. And really the last thing we need right now is for the government to come in and start cutting jobs, which is what spending cuts really amount to.
So what do you think they should be doing very quickly?
Well, this cascading effect. Part of the state budget problem is from a decrease in, part of Springfield's budget problem that comes from a reduction in state aid, which comes from a reduction in federal aid. So one thing the federal government should actually be trying to do as a stopgap would be to continue to give state aid, which they're actually reducing it. And I said there are places you can cut the budget, but in terms of the poor and the least enfranchised, if you like, in society is where all the budget cuts come from on the Republican side, and that just makes inequality much worse, and we already are really bad in that ranking as a country anyway.
Very good. Karl Petrick, Mark Howard, thank you so much for joining us today. Lots of good information, as always. That is our program for today. If you've missed any of it, you can watch it in full on our website at wwlp.com. Thanks at home for watching. Thanks to our guests for joining us today. From all of us here at 22 News, we wish you a wonderful Sunday.